If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Jose Johnson on the show. And if you didn't know who he was heading into this past Friday night, you certainly know who he is now, following one of the most vicious knockouts of all of 2019 at LFA 78. The elbow heard round the MMA world. Great to have one of the big winners of the weekend on the show. Jose, how are you, man?
I'm great, man. I'm just here. I'm spoiling myself. I'm buying some shoes right now.
Right. So is it fair to say that your weekend was a little bit crazier than most after that knockout of Rafael Costa? I mean, that highlight was everywhere, man. How was seeing that knockout all over the place since Friday night?
So if you didn't know, I kind of actually went viral like a few years ago too, like 4 years ago maybe. I kicked some dude's eye out and it went viral on YouTube. So like it's something that I was kind of used to, but it was less funny this time. More the first time that it happened, it was more so like a joke. Like, so yeah, I mean it was something that I was fairly used to, but this time it was different because it was on a bigger pedestal. It was for LFA. It was their debut on UFC Fight Pass, so it was just, I don't know, man. I'm still like in shock almost, because it's just it's crazy. I don't even have words. I'm just so thankful. I just want to give all the glory to God, man, for keeping me safe, making sure he was safe. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank LFA, my coaches, my sponsors, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because it was a pretty scary knockout, and Costa, he went down pretty awkwardly. It was kind of scary to watch from the outside, and I know it's part of the game. You're a fighter, but in the aftermath of it, being in the cage, like, how did you react to the knockout while you were there and seeing him sort of lying on the mat the way that he was?
Honestly, so at weigh-ins, he was talking a lot of crap at weigh-ins. He was like speaking to me in Portuguese, saying that he was gonna kill me and stuff like that. So I just thought the irony of it was kind of funny, because he was speaking to me like that, and I didn't say anything to him. A fight is a fight, regardless of it. At the end of the day, I mean, we're gonna get in the cage and we're both gonna fight each other. So all that's unnecessary to me. And at the time when it happened, I was a little hyped, jumped on the cage, and then I realized that he was still down. And then I jumped down. It was instantly a sign of respect, get down on, and wait for him to get up. And, it was just all so surreal, man. It just happened so fast. It's crazy.
I believe that was your second fight with LFA. You had that unanimous decision loss to Armando Villarreal a little over a year ago, but now you have that first LFA win. Hard to imagine you can make more of an impact with that organization than you did on Friday, but how important was that for you to sort of right that wrong and get your first LFA win like that?
I mean, it was a huge impact. I mean, I know it was good for me because of what had happened the first time I fought for them. So it was just, I just know I needed to get on this card at the end of the year. I know they were showing it all on Fight Pass. So, and then it was funny because I was watching the UFC fights, like, I think it was the week before the Diaz and the Jorge Masvidal fight, and they were announcing it on the UFC, like, during the UFC. And I was like, yo, they never do that. And they never talk about Fight Pass on there like that. So I was like super excited. I was like, I need to get on this card. I don't care who I got to fight. And they're like, well, we got this guy from Brazil. You want to take him? Tough fight. And I was like, dude, I don't even care. I just want to fight on this card. It's a huge card. Just give me my chance to show that, the decision that happened at LFA before is not necessarily who I am. And then since then, if you look at my record, I'm on a 5-fight winning streak, 5 of those being first round knockouts. So it was just a good place. It was a good night. Super thankful.
I was going back and doing some research in lieu of this conversation, and you may have been the most active amateur fighter in the history of mixed martial arts. 37 AMI fights, I believe, doing the math right. And did I read that you fought 21 times in 2015 alone? 21 times?
So funny thing is that's actually not even correct. A lot of those, Michigan wasn't sanctioned, and now they're sanctioned. But before they were sanctioned, my record was actually 68-12. Yeah.
And like you're a young guy. How many? So do you had like? So you had more. I mean, 21 fights is ridiculous. That's a lot of fights. So you're saying you had more than 21 fights in 2015?
Oh yeah.
How many would you say?
I would probably say I think I fought at least 36, 37 times in that 1 year.
How the hell did you do that? I mean, did you even have time to sleep or eat or do anything else?
It was almost like fighting was training for me. So, because I was just having fun doing it. You know, I wasn't really taking it as serious as I wasn't taking it nowhere near as serious as I take it now. But it was just, it was fun. I was fighting every weekend, sometimes twice every weekend. I even had a chance where I fought in the 145 tournament. I showed up to the fight with my belt just to like kind of spectate and stuff. And they were like, "Hey, you want to fight?" And I was like, "I'm always down to fight." Like, yeah, well, it's a 145 tournament, so you can fight for another belt for our promotion. And I had already held their 135 belt. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I ended up fighting twice in one night. So,
oh my God.
And then got the 145 belt for the same promotion. So I was holding two belts for one promotion. And I came there in like a shirt and tie just to like watch, and ended up, just happened to have my fight gear. It was just pretty funny how it happened.
That is insane, man. And like, obviously, since you turned pro, that activity, not as much. You're not fighting 36 times in a year, but you're still getting a lot of action here. But I got to know, considering how active you have been, how did this wacky world of MMA get your attention? Like, how did this all begin for you?
Oh, man. So it first happened when I'm actually here with my childhood best friend right here, Richie.
What's up, man?
We went to Killeen together. And I'm sure he remembers the event as well. I got jumped really bad when I was in high school by a bunch of guys because I had talked to the wrong girl at the wrong time. And I remember walking to lunch. We were staying like right down the street from Bush's Chicken, the high school is. And I was walking, and these guys jumped on me. And at that point, I was like, I can't get beat up like this no more. So I started training. And I wasn't necessarily training to fight or anything like that, but I was just training. And then maybe about 6 months into training, 6 to 8 months of training, they were like, hey, you want to fight? And, I think every fighter has been a troubled teen, had some type of form of aggression issues and stuff like that. We all have. And I was like, the first question I asked was like legally? Like, I can fight somebody and not get in trouble for it? Like, is that even a trick question? Yeah, sign me up. Next thing you know, I'm 17 years old, and I'm freaking fighting some 37-year-old man. He's got like 4 kids already, and I'm like, I'm terrified. I was like, I'm going to do it, though, because it just seems like it'd be something, a cool experience. End up getting my ass whooped, but I loved it, though. It was fun. I wanted to get better. And then from there, I just like started training more, started dedicating myself to it a little bit more. And as a pro, like now I just completely dedicated my life to it. So
with all these fights, you're only 24 years old. And between the amateur and the pro run here, you have like 7,000 fights to your name, which is just crazy. Like you said, you have 5 wins in a row, 5 first-round finishes in a row. You have the highlight reel from this past weekend. This is your second time really going viral with the knockout right now. Do you feel like things are starting to fall into place here? Do you feel like you're on the cusp of something big right now?
So what a lot of people, also another thing that a lot of people don't know is I just fought in August. And I fought against a guy from American Top Team. His name is Pipe Vargas. And he was 7-1 at the time. And he's fought all over the world, and it was a big deal. And I made him look like he was an amateur fighter. Like, it was bad. It was like really bad. Like, destroyed him in every aspect of the fight. And it's crazy because no one really talked about that one. They kind of like talked about it, but they didn't really talk about it like I feel like they should have. And then when I saw this opportunity, I was like, man, I got to jump on this because I'm going to make some noise, like they have no choice but to recognize this one. And then they were like, well, we got this, once again, they said, we got this tough dude By the way, I just want to give a shout out to Rafael. Hats off. It wasn't a tough fight for either one of us to take on a week's notice, because that's something they didn't even say either. I didn't have a whole training camp to prepare for this fight. I don't think neither did he as well. He just came to the States like 3 months ago, and we both took this fight on a week's notice, and sacrificed everything for everybody. And so hats off to him, and God bless to him. And he just got in there and just got it done. I'm just glad that once again that it was on the grand scale that it was on, so people finally can start seeing. So now people are like, oh, but he's got like 5 wins, first round KOs, back to back to back. And it's like, well, I was doing that before, but LFA really helped me push it out there, LFA. So I'm super thankful for the experience again, man.
And now you have Johnny come latelys like myself jumping on board here and asking to interview you. So I have a feeling that there's a lot of inquiries at this point, but that's got to be helpful, right?
Yeah, I have like 5 different interviews to do today.
When you have, you've been there before, but when you have a moment like that on the stage that it was on, it's pretty easy to get caught up in it. It just happened so you can sort of reap the benefits right now and get all engulfed in it. But you've had big finishes before. I'm sure none are going to really equal the impact as the one you had on Friday, even though you've been viral before. But you're 24 years old. How do you keep your feet on the floor and just sort of put that knockout in the back burner to move forward? You know what I mean?
So good thing to take from this is if you look at if people were to go and really watch the fight, the whole fight on Fight Pass, and you see my coach's reaction. My coaches know me. They know what I train for. They know how hard I train. They know my skill level. They know everything that comes, that has to do with me and the way I'm supposed to carry myself. And they lead by example very well. And they weren't super hype and jumping around and stuff like that. It shook my hand. Good job. Because, I did my job well. And it's because of them. They keep me grounded, They really keep me grounded. They're like, you can't pretty much get a big head because anything can happen. I'm not a UFC champion yet. And I will be. I promise you I will be, but I'm not yet. So until then, it's time to keep pushing forward, not stopping. I'm not going to become less active. If they offered me to fight a week from now, I'm still taking it. I'm in great shape. I'm just ready to fight again and just being hungry. Once again, it was just great to be put on that pedestal, to be able to shine, and I'm gonna take it like a grain of salt, and I'm gonna move on to the next one.
I was just going to say, have you booked 3 fights for January yet with how active you've been? At least knowing what I've learned. Do you have anything sort of in the works at this point? You're just kind of smelling the roses for a little bit.
I kind of said something to WXC. WXC hit me up because I am the 135 champion for them. So they kind of hit me up and they were like, hey man, you think in February? And I was like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care. If the UFC comes to me and they're like, we need you on a week's notice, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready regardless. Hell, I'm me right now. I just went and bought shoes. I'm gonna go take these home, and then I'm about to go straight to training right now. So it's all.
What did you get? What did you get for shoes?
Oh, dude, I love Vans.
All right.
So I got 3 pairs of these, 3 pairs of Vans. They got the new collection, new Vans off the wall collection. So I was like, oh, dude, these look dope. I'm gonna freaking spoil myself a little bit, and then buy my wife and kids a bunch of stuff. So
there you go. Do you feel like with a win like that, you're talking about WXC and hopefully getting you back in February. Do you feel like with a win like that, again, this is a bigger stage that you were able to get a finish like that on? Do you feel like that a bullseye gets a little bigger on your back, or do you feel like you're going to have a little more difficult time getting fights at this point after a knockout?
Oh man, it's hard. It's hard. That's why I had to take the fight with that guy. They were like, this dude's a beast, right? He's coming straight from Brazil, right? And he's 11-2. And I was like, yeah, bro, you don't understand. It's so hard. It's a difference between having a really good record and then being a grappler. and then having a really good or decent record and then being a striker. Like if you look at my record, all my wins, TKO, TKO, punches, knees, TKO, TKO, like they're all like finishes. I have an 80% finish rate, as a pro. So like, I mean, people necessarily, I think ideally someone would want to grapple somebody rather than, stand and just take punches. That's not everybody's intentions when they get in the cage is to stand and just go blow for blow. So that it kind of intimidates people a lot, and that's what I like to do. Like I wanna stand and bang with you. It's not mine. I can go to the ground, but it's not something that I look to do. Is let's just go to the ground and let's just grapple the whole time. I want to knock you out. I want to hurt you. So I think people will start shying away from that. But there's always that person who's as hungry as me, who's training every day, and I love it, and I'm ready for it.
I know the brass ring for you is getting Dana White to wrap that belt around your waist in the octagon down the road. But do you feel like 2020 is going to be your year? Do you feel like you could get that Contender Series call, maybe even a straight call to the UFC at some point in 2020?
I definitely believe. I definitely think I work hard enough to get the straight call to the UFC. But if the Contender Series happens, whatever opportunity I'm given, I'm gonna make the best out of it. That's all I ever asked for and want for is opportunity, so I can be a better, father, a better husband, like better my life. Like that's all I want. I am a little mad at Dana. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a little mad at Dana because it's like, like, do I really have to legitimately kill somebody to get this guy's attention or what? Or what? Like this, like it's bad to say, but it's like, golly, what more do I gotta do? I've been destroying these guys, and these guys are like, you're not like bums. It was actually to one point, not the Pipe Vargas fight, the fight in August, but the one before then, they couldn't find anybody at 135 to fight me. They couldn't find anybody at 145 to fight me. I was already at 137 when they told me my opponent, backed out. It was like 3 days before weigh-ins. And I was like, man, forget it. Find me somebody at 55. And I put that weight back on and weighed in at 55 for a 55 fight. And end up splitting the dude's head wide open with an elbow. And it's like, golly, like I'm jumping through hoops that are on fire and this big to try to get Dana's attention. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, so I mean, I think it's coming soon. I know for a fact he liked what he saw, and until then, I just keep on doing the same thing I'm doing until I guess he feels I'm worthy. So.
Well, we've seen the power of these highlight reel knockouts and what they can do. I mean, Michel Pereira, one of those guys that had one of those viral knockouts, he gets the call. Dominic Reyes had one of those knockouts. He got the call. He's about to fight John Jones for the light heavyweight title. I mean, It could be a big thing for you. The phone could be ringing, so you never know. I mean, what an incredible knockout on Friday night. 5 wins in a row. Jose Johnson makes his statement. He's on the map like never before. Congratulations on the win, Jose. Incredible performance. Before you let you go, man, let the folks know where they can find and follow you on the web, any social media stuff, shout-outs, anything else you want to get off your chest, man. The floor is yours.
Thank you, brother. First, always giving the glory back to God. I want to say thank you to my team, Strike Kings, over in Coppers Cove, Texas. If you're ever in the Central Texas area and you really want to learn how to throw them hands, like I suggest you come there. My jiu-jitsu guys, I have several jiu-jitsu gyms in Detroit, Detroit Jiu-Jitsu, James Lee's Mash Fight Team. Those guys over at SFS helped me a lot as well, Taylor Moore and James Gray. I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, my main sponsors, Fog Hog Vapes, Ace Tires and Rims, my CBD company. Dang, man, it's like on the spot. I wish I had my t-shirt because I got like everything written down. My personal friends who will also sponsor me, Alicia, Chimera MMA, all those guys over there in Washington State. C3, Charlie's Combat Club with Charlie over there. Those guys helped me prepare a lot for my fight with Pipe. Thank you so much. And then you can definitely follow me on Instagram at Platano. If you don't know what Platano is, it's a plantain. It's PLATANO _pride. 95. That's on Instagram. Or you can follow me on, or you can add me on Snapchat under Chico Moreno. It's Chico Moreno 95 on there. Or you can just add me on Facebook. That one's hard because then you got to spell my first name. My first name is ridiculous. So if you just type in ZHAK, there's nobody else who has that name, and then it'll pop up. It's a super long one. So Jacquarius Johnson on Facebook.
How's my buddy Jared Brooks doing? Do you see him often?
Oh, dude, I've messed with. Me and Jared just video chatted last night. I'm gonna be going to go see him in a couple weeks and go get wrestle raped. I love Jared. Jared's like that's for real, like my brother. I was at his last fight. I was in his corner. Congrats to him on his win. And yeah, man. You guys see me and this little dude play leapfrog when we're in the mall. We go to the mall right on. It's hilarious. He's so freaking little. I love that kid.
Yeah, one of the most memorable interviews of my career was when he got the UFC call to fight Ian McCall. It was the craziest interview I've ever done. And then when I went out to Brooklyn to cover that card, Jared was always very gracious with his time. We talked before the fight, and then once the fight was off the card, he gave me the time of day after that. Did an interview with me in the hotel right before UFC 208 when he lost the fight with McCall. So he'll always have a special place in my heart, that Jared Brooks, the best rapper in MMA.
Yeah, dude, energy is crazy. That's why I love him. That's why I love him being in my fights. He's been in my corner for my last 4 fights actually. Not this one for LFA, but the ones before then. So and he gets you hyped.
Yeah, he definitely gets you hyped. Congratulations again, Jose. Thank you for the time. Enjoy the new shoes. We'll look forward to seeing what's next for you.
Thanks, brother.